ready? Some of the best adventures begin in the wee hours of the morning, before the sun comes up. You can just feel the excitement in the air, or maybe it was the coffee slowly percolating through my veins. We're going to travel a few hours to go meet Brian and Rick. They're going to show us some new trails, well, new to me anyways, and I was pretty excited to see what the day had for us. Plus, it's always great when you spend it with good friends.
Well, thanks for joining us on another adventure, everyone. This time it's in a little bit north of where we are normally going in the mountains. We're actually just north of Edmonton. Stopped in Athabasca here. We're gonna fuel up and head on out, and should be a pretty fun time. It's a lake that it's a beautiful lake, and we're hoping to get there today. Anyways, what I don't get is how come the more north we're coming up, the cheaper the gas gets. I'm in Athabasca here, and it is a good, I'd say 10 cents a liter cheaper up here than it is in Red Deer. Who knows? Anyways, thanks for joining, everyone. This is going to be a fun trip. Right now that we're all gassed up, ready to go, I'm meeting the guys out at their camp spot that they went to last night. So they're getting breakfast ready, and gonna meet them there, and then we're gonna hit some pretty sweet trails. So, but yeah, I've never camped out this way, so I'll set myself a couple of markers on my GPS. Looks like some pretty interesting spots out here. Anyways, thanks for coming along, and wind's really starting to pick up outside, so should be kind of interesting. It said it's going to be nice and sunny today, but didn't say anything about wind, so I'm pretty sure we're in for a good windstorm. Comms check for Brian. All right, must have got the wrong campground. Came out here, there's nobody here, so gonna go down the road for a bit further. That's probably where they are. I'll see if I can get them on the radio. Beautiful little lake out here. Some pretty cool camp spots. Gonna have to do some exploring out this way. Anyways, down the road I go. All right, miscommunication. Apparently they were coming into town while I was heading out there. We took two different routes. So I was out at their campsite while they're in town waiting for me. Gotta love it when that happens. Just adds to the adventure. Anyways, we're now heading to Canadian Tire here in Athabasca to meet up with them. So yeah, couple wrong turns. Oh well, we'll make it happen. Now we're just like a minute or two away from meeting up with the guys. Gotta love it.
We wanted to drive by Jackfish Lake before heading out to the trailhead, so we ended up going that way. But I do have to say, listening to Rick and Brian go back and forth on the comms made my day. Those guys are funny. We had reached the trailhead. It was a really fun set of trails out here. A little bit of mud, a little bit of hill climbing, but all in all, very enjoyable, with lots of little spurs and offshoots to go and explore. you could totally see where if you were to come out here after a good rainstorm or even in the springtime, this track would be pretty muddy. I think it would be a lot of fun. We're going to have to reschedule for a springtime run.
This is beautiful.
Wow, is that view up there? I think that's one of my most favorite things, is finding spots that are unique, beautiful on their own merit, and absolutely silent and peaceful. The only thing you hear is the wind in the trees and maybe some animals. Speaking of animals, we were wondering why Rick was falling back. Here's Rick catching up to us to let us know that he had found some wolf tracks about the size of his hand, and as well had seen a wolverine. There was definitely a lot of wildlife out today. There were a lot of different tracks you can drive on in this area, but we decided to take one that wasn't traveled quite as much, and it definitely did not disappoint. We were coming up to the area called the Beaver Dam. Now Brian was telling us how he got super stuck at this particular location, so we were kind of curious as to how we were going to make out. We were pretty fortunate that there wasn't as much moisture out today as there was when Brian got stuck, so we made it through without any issues. With the wind really picking up, it definitely put a lot of deadfall across the road that we had to deal with.
There we go. Super windy day today. We'll probably see a few more trees down.
As we continued down on this particular track, we noticed we were kind of coming up on a ridge, a pretty tall ridge actually, and I wanted to pop up the drone to kind of get some good footage, but man, it was just too windy. I could not get the drone in the air. While we're traveling down on this particular track, we also saw a nice steep hill looming in the distance.
I can stay right where you are for this side. Something about a winch.
This particular hill had a 38-degree incline. It was a lot of fun. Apparently though, when it's rainy out, this hill is pretty much impassable because the ground gets so slippery from the slippery mud that there's just no way to climb it unless you winch up. But yeah, for today it was pretty dry, so we made it up with no issues. And as per normal, video doesn't do how steep this hill was. It was pretty fun. We had made it to the top of the hill. It was really turning out to be a great day of exploring on these trails. Once we were at the top of the hill, we continued driving a few more kilometers down until we hit a nice open grassy area where we were going to turn around. Of course, that meant going back down the hill we had just come back up. But you know what? It was kind of fun. I didn't mind. We eventually made our way to this little valley where the trail kind of followed the edge. It was a pretty fun little drive. This was one of the options we had to get to the lake we wanted to camp at. We decided to turn around here and try a little bit of a different approach.
What's that? Yeah.
had made it to the campsite, and the wind had died down enough so I could pull out the drone as well. You know how sometimes you can remember campsites by certain characteristics? Well, this campsite was peaceful. That's how I remember it. From the wind blowing in the trees to the absolute silence in between. It was pretty awesome. With nighttime fast approaching, we were going to get down to the business of making dinner. We had something special planned for tonight. Brian had brought some fresh salmon that we were going to cook over a very hot fire. We had brought some vegetables which we cooked up using, of course, our Expo spice. Rick was going to make us some seasoned rice that he was doing up on his jet boil.
I might put too much water in it.
And to make it a true surf and turf, we also brought some steak along. It was an amazing meal and we feasted like kings that night. And when we were done, we had some fresh cinnamon rolls baked over the fire. With our bellies full, we sat and enjoyed the peacefulness that this campsite had to offer. Sitting by the fire, we can hear wolves way out in the distance. Remember those tracks that Rick had seen earlier? Well, these guys were making themselves well known tonight.
Absolutely amazing sleep last night. We decided to test out our new sleeping bags. Went to a military discount store and they had a pretty good price on their triple layer military Canadian edition sleeping bag. And I can say it kept us super warm. The lake out front here has a skim of ice on it this morning, but man, we were toasty in our tent last night. So yeah, I would say mission successful on that one. That turned out pretty good. Now, that said, I am going to drink my coffee and enjoy this absolutely stunning, beautiful morning. Good morning, everyone.
And with that, it was time to pack up and go home.